you will watch on this podcast.
I won't be able to tell exactly how the work is going to look like.
If we're not taking care of this, our future generation is going to be completely messed up.
The most important commodity you ever have, your attention.
I mean, we have all the solutions.
Yes, AI is a predictive tool, but also here. It can get to help you if you know how to use it and not get used by it.
This is a very, 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 very interesting topic. Welcome back to our Wellness Billion podcast, my friends. It's so nice to see you and super nice reading your comments on this amazing podcast with my father.
Yes, hi guys. I'm happy to see you again with Yassine. We spent a tremendous weekend in Marrakesh together and we did some sports, we met some people, and here we are. It's almost 9 o'clock at night and we're having our podcast with you with all the energy in the world.
You can notice this now. It's a kind of different setting. It's by night. Why not? Let's try it. Let's just have a conversation by night and enjoy this podcast. This is Karim Amor, my father.
Yes, a biotech entrepreneur and author for more than 30 years.
And I'm Yassine Amor, a wellness content creator on social media with over 2 million people across all platforms. Today, again, we're going to dive into 3 different topics, which is related to wellness, business in wellness, and AI with wellness as usual. And we're going to start with the first one.
Yes, the first one is about a subject which is a very important subject. It's an article from this week. You know, guys, that whenever we cure articles that are very recent so that you have the edge of the information that you need. So the first article of this week is about food system crisis. It says that researchers warn that the current food system is broken. Only 60 harvests left due to soil degradation. That means, guys, that if we bear in mind this article, we only have 60 years to harvest if we continue on digging and using the soil the way we're using it. And, we have a lot of pesticides around. And if we keep on doing that, we are going to not only destroy the soil, but destroy the planet even further. What do you think, Yassine?
Personally, it's an article that concerns me and that concerns my generation because I don't know if in 60 years, I mean, I hope you're still going to be here, but let's be optimistic. Let's be realistic. In 60 years, a lot of us are not going to be here, but I hope I'm going to be here. And I know that if we're not taking care of this, our future generation is going to be completely messed up, not having proper soil to be able to harvest fruit and vegetables, for example. Nowadays, we're discovering, and it's not a recent discovery. It's been a long, long time, and I actually studied this, which is vertical farming. Because nowadays, with vertical farming, we can do so much. We can cultivate so many things in a controlled environment. And the food, it tastes even better than in proper soil because you can control it. You can control when to harvest. You can control you can control the lights. So it's better, healthier, and cheaper than actual soil that we can find on land.
Yes, I remember I took you to take the course on vertical farming because I was as fascinating as you about it. But let me tell you also that I agree with you. That's a good agreement on to begin with. Agree with you that it's your generation to undertake, because our generation, which is the first, second, third, and fourth industrial era to be entering in, that put us into this evaluating the disaster that happened through all those years. And we've been using products, enhance productivity for the sake of productivity without knowing what we were doing. And we were using pesticides and herbicides and products I cannot even pronounce the name of, using it, grow the crops fast, grow them 2 times a year, and making the production of food available for everybody, which is not done. Why? Because you have tremendous amount of people in the worldwide that are not feeding themselves properly, and we have so many international institutions putting up some money to try to balance things which are not balanced. And when you have countries like any country imports goods for themselves, that means when you import goods for yourself and don't distribute it to other countries that need it because their soil is not properly handled, because you don't have any interest as an industrial country to go and handle it, then you've got famine going on when you got sick, which brings sickness at the end of the day.
It's, you know, this article also mentions about meat. And for example, I'm a big meat eater. And they say that 60 cycle harvesting is also going to affect meat. So it's also going to affect real protein. And I'm a big protein eater. Every single meal that I take, I have meat.
Yes.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Then we have a problem, because as a meat eater, you should look at meat the way it is, with a lot of clarity. Meat today has the highest carbon footprint in the whole agriculture value chain. And it means that we have to look at it as something really harsh. Okay, you need protein. So where do you think we can get proteins from?
I mean, we can definitely get them from plants. All right. But meat is meat. I mean, no offense for all vegan people and for vegetarian people, whatever. I'm a meat eater. There's a lot of people that love meat, love the taste of meat, love the texture of meat. And today, yeah, there's technologies that allows us to make meat in labs and have completely vegan kind of meat. But I'm not a fan of that.
Okay.
I can't. I like my steak and I like it. I mean, it's like this.
Okay, have you ever tried a meat made in lab?
I did try. I actually tried vegan pork in Vietnam, for example. Last time I went in Vietnam, I tried how do they call this? Banh mi. It was a vegan pork banh mi. Actually, it was only plants with the taste of pork thanks to the spices. It tasted really good, but I missed this meat flavor. I miss the texture. I miss knowing that it's meat.
What you should do is taste meat made out of lab meat. You have a lot of trademarks. I won't do any commercial here, but you have 2-3 major trademarks worldwide that make meat the way meat are made. And not only red meat, but also poultry. And they also make fish. You would not recognize, yes,
I've
and
never heard about it.
you will not recognize the difference. They worked on texture, they worked on color, they worked on crunchiness, which means that when you eat meat, you need this crunchy flavor, and you also this kind of, I would say, blood coming out, which is, by the way, it's butternut. It's not real blood, but you feel that you're eating real meat. And the meat that is made in lab is not only other meat than the meat of the real cow or the little poultry. It is cellularly made in the lab for you to be able to have real meat, which is actually meat. The difference is that it's made in lab. What they do is they do multiple cellular growing, and so that you now enhance 1 cell, 2 cells, 3 cells, 1,000 cells, 1,000,000 cells. At the end, they have this meat as the meat with the real cell meat.
All right, I agree, but still, in my mind, I can't. In my mind, personally, I need real meat.
Does
I
it
need
mean
that steak.
So that means you need to kill cows.
No, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, basically,
Yassine,
yeah.
you're killing cows.
Basically, yes.
Okay, so imagine you have hundreds of cows, one behind another, coming into these big factories that are handling.
It's horrible to see.
It is horrible.
To see it like
and
this,
then you say,
obviously.
okay, I need my meat to be from a cow. Explain
but
me
for me,
the mentality that gets into your mind to do that.
You know, the problem here is that normally we should have the complete different mindset. Normally, you should be the one defending the meat. I should be the one defending the lab meat, because the lab meat is new, and the real meat normally it's what
This is why we're discussing.
What I've been doing for the past years.
Yes, there's no normally.
I know there's no normally. I know there's no normally, but I don't know. For me, I love meat, and it's the food chain. It's life. I mean, it's like, for example, a cow is going to eat a cockroach, or let's say a lizard is going to eat a cockroach, and then the crocodile is going to eat the lizard, and so on and so forth. And that's how life is. But I agree that we're in like an overproduction, and that causes problem to our actual topic, which is the harvesting of the 60 cycle harvesting. I mean, if we reduce our meat consumption, obviously we probably going to extend our harvesting cycle. Why? Because there's going to be less demand into meat, which means less food for the animals. And also with vertical farming, again, I mean, we have all the solutions. It's an alarming article, but we have today all the solutions to be able to extend that cycle. And who knows, maybe in 20 or 30 years, we're going to eat something completely different. We don't know. Things are evolving so fast.
We don't know, but as you know, guys, the meat that is produced on the fields is a meat that they can be good and cannot be good. And most of it is not good because it's full of pesticides also and antibiotics. So when you eat it full of antibiotic that gets into your body, and some of it never goes out. This is another thing, which, by the way, Yassine, doesn't happen on lab. When you produce the meat on lab, you produce it in a perfect way so that it matches your overall body. I don't say it matches everybody like in a perfect way. We defend the thing that one size doesn't fit all. But at the end, you have a meat that is proper and that all the characteristics, which is not the same when you buy your meat at the butcher's. And maybe you'll buy your lab meat at the butcher's next time, because if you need this fancy environment of a butcher...
It's not fancy in the butcher. It's not fancy.
Well, it is. You feel it's human. It's like, as I hear you, you need to have the process getting your meat from the place you're usually getting it, from the butchers or whatever, knowing that it was an animal, a real one, instead of even a lab meat. I think your part of the generation is going to look at it in an exponential way, much more than ours. I'm in tech, so I understand those things because I researched them. Your generation is a generation that should look at it as, how can I protect? What is the compensation? What's the alternative that I have so that I can eat my meat knowing that I'm not intoxicated by antibiotics, and it's good for me because I need those animal proteins. And I agree with you, animal proteins are
essential. For me, are essential.
They are powerful. Those guys that work into longevity, and I studied longevity for a long time, tell you that you can get your meat, your proteins out of plants, and that you can get it in a proper way, and nothing will happen to you. But let's say, okay, we love meat as humans. Okay, it's possible and it's understandable. But getting it from lab, and when we look at it, we don't have many ways to handle this, because at the end of the day, the governments or the people are going to legislate to try to change things and to make our soul, because it's not about meat. We the right to meat.
Yeah, we derive completely.
But the soils, you have types of phosphates that are made particularly to cope with the sustainability of the soil. Phosphate is a very important, it's a rock. And you have companies like 𝐒𝐂𝐃 in Morocco, which is the first producer of phosphate in the world, first producer exporter, that are making the fertilizers that are completely sustainable, and they're making of formulas that they have so that they can export it to maintain the soil, and they go through until when we sell the last kilometer to the farmer, to show the farmer how to use it sustainably and to show him how he can use the soil properly, so that you don't have any more 6 harvesting periods. You can have any cycles you want, like 100, 200, 300 years, until we might find another way to produce food. And you're right, I agree with you. We might find other ways to produce food, but we will still be very much into plant food. How much of your meal do you eat is plant food yourself? Plant is also fruits.
Yeah, a big part of it.
More than 80%, right?
No, 60%.
Okay, you 60%,
I'm
me
a big
80%.
Eater again. I love meat.
Okay, let's say 80%. let's say 60%. It's 60%.
Yeah, it's still 60%. Yeah, I agree. But that's why I really believe in vertical farming.
Okay, vertical farming was not sustainable as a business model until very recently. Now it becomes sustainable since 3-4 months. In the beginning, when you studied it, we studied it together, remember, we found that a lot of money was poured into vertical farming. A lot of VC guys invested in vertical farming because it was their thing. You see, today you have several ways to handle things. What would be the solutions for you to tackle this problem of having land improperly used?
What do you mean?
What would be the solutions for you if you had to propose solutions to have the lands properly used, to be sustainable, to overpass this 60 harvesting problem?
I would personally, for me, the solution was vertical farming. Vertical farming, why? Because you can produce food basically vertically and not horizontally. So you're not limited to the horizontal soil now. You can just produce vertically, which means you can produce 10 times or 20 times more in a square meter. And for me, that's the main solution. The main solution is vertical farming, because I don't know if you remember, and this is a complete other topic, we can talk about it maybe in another podcast, the cities that are now using buildings to be able to grow plants as well.
I think you're right. I think it's a good solution to do it, as long as it's industrially sustainable and it's the business model is good.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have other means. You can use also AI to research particles that make plants more stronger and better. I'm not talking about genetic manipulation. I'm talking about how you use the soil proteins, or how are you feeding the soils to make your plant better.
Mm-hmm.
And you have another way to handle it, also by the traceability of whatever plant you produced, to know how it was produced, to induce and push and do some nudging to the agriculture, to the farmer, to produce it better.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways. There are ways that are going to be studied again. This is an alarming topic, and I mean, it's not our industry. It's not our industry to know exactly like how soil is going to be reinvented to be able to have the double of the cycles that are available kind of today. But I'm pretty sure vertical farming again is going to be one of the solutions. They're going to find some methods to be able to regenerate the soil as well. I mean, technology is advancing so fast that I'm sure there's going to be ways.
Yes, guys, just for you to know, vertical farming is a place where you put plants and you feed them in a goutte-à-goutte with a goutte-à-goutte system. They're all handled by AI, and you have some LEDs that are giving you the right light at the right moment, so that you have the best harvesting you can ever have. You nearly use no pesticide. You need to use some fertilizers, but very particular fertilizers, and you have some growth of the crops that you can control all the way to their maturity, and it's done also by looking at the crops through cameras, which is what we call in the language of tech computer vision. So we vision what we do, and then you have the perfect way of handling crops. You also have small systems that you can put in your own home, even an apartment, which are like this. You can produce your salads, you can produce your greens at least, and most of them, not all of them yet, but most of them, and it's perfect and it tastes like hell.
Let us know what you think in the comments for this topic. It's always interesting to be able to find out what the audience think, and we can read and have as well. It gives us the ideas to find other topics and dive more into those podcasts. Now let's dive into our second article, which is about ads. And it says that the majority of B2B video ads fail. New research shows that 81% of B2B video ads do not capture adequate attention or drive brand recall, within only 19% of viewers both remembering the ad and identifying the brand correctly. Attention is short. The average attention span for a video ad on LinkedIn is just 3.7 seconds, even though the ad is visible for 12.3 seconds. This fleeting attention emphasizes the need to ads to focus on the brand message. This is a very, 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 very interesting topic, and I've been dealing with it actually the past few months, because we all know that social media is very mind consuming, not only for people that are creating content, but also for people that are watching those type of content. What do you think about it?
Well, what I think is that, first of all, let's pre-frame the thing. It's about B2B. So it's very narrow oriented, B2B, which is good. And it's about getting eyeballs of people. We all the social media are getting to get the commodity, the most important commodity you ever have, your attention. Why? This is the reason why they say, well, those 3 first seconds are the most important one. You need the hook. You need the hook. Why? Because when you hook the people, you let them stay as long as possible. And even in the KPIs of the social network, they have this, how many seconds did the people stay, or how long did they watch the TV? Is it a short term or a long term? When we get to B2B, and I'm astonished by those figures because it's very short. But on the other side, I like it. And I tell you why. Because you have to be interesting so that you get the people interested. You have to be original. You have to be, I believe, although I'm in tech and I'm in avatars and so on, you have to be human. This is why I wrote my book, Renaissance Now. And you have to be aware of the interest of the audience so you hook them more than 3.7 seconds.
I completely disagree with you. I hate it. For me, I hate people's attention. I hate it because today, even if we're talking B2B, who's behind the business? It's a human. Who's gonna catch the attention? Who's gonna be catched by your ad? It's a human. And social media destroyed our attention. Why? Because we keep on scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and on all social media.
But no, yeah.
Every social media.
This
LinkedIn,
is another topic,
YouTube,
Yassine.
Instagram, TikTok. It's not another topic.
Time out. It's another topic.
It's not another topic.
What we're discussing is the fact that what is the attention span? The article presupposes you have people watching your video, and they say, okay, those guys are here waiting for your content. They're watching your video. What is the maximum attention span they're giving you on a B2B?
3 seconds. B2B or not B2B is the same.
Okay. When you say you hate the getting the attention of people, I understand that you shouldn't be you shouldn't do a social network, whereas you have over 2 million people looking at you and giving you their attention.
I'm telling you, I did it. For example, myself, I didn't get 1.4 million on Instagram and 2 million over all social media just by getting their attention in 3 seconds. I got their attention in my full video, in the way I communicate, because the first 3 seconds, the problem, and that's the problem I'm getting right now to be able to grow even more, is that now I'm getting into those 3 seconds that I have to get people's attention. And those 3 seconds consumes my mind because you have to do something completely crazy to catch people's attention in those 3 seconds.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's horrible.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But that's competition, my friend, because you have other people competing for the same topic as you are. They are competing. I mean, what are you selling, Yassine? A good vibe and a healthy lifestyle. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's your label, which I'm proud of, by the way. But there are other people competing with you, and those other people are going to do sometimes crazy things to get attention of people and make people empowered for what they have to say to them. Mr. Beast, he started by doing crazy things, and it's getting crazier and crazier every single day. As I don't follow him very much because it's not my type of content, but I'm looking at him sometimes and I'm saying to him, gosh, this guy is making billions of followers because he's doing crazy thing. And I think AI coming over, but it's the topic of the next subject, but AI coming over, and AI is everywhere. You will have to, as a rival, ideas coming from AI handled to other people to be able to do even crazier and crazier things. And that's human. That's what makes us human.
That's not human. And you said it actually at the beginning of this podcast, and because you were talking about avatars, but you're talking also about the human part of social media. Being crazy at the first 3 seconds, it's not human. That's the problem. And I think we're passing through this era of this 3 seconds, but I'm pretty sure we're going to come back to the real authenticity of the content.
But the 3 seconds are not unauthentic.
The 3 seconds are unauthentic. Because you need to give everything, or you need to do something crazy to catch people's attention on the 3 seconds. When did this problem start? When TikTok came?
You're the pro. So I won't get so deep into it because I might be completely trapped. What I think is that you say you have to be crazy in those 3 seconds. I don't mean crazy. I was talking about Mr. Beast for his craziness of his crazy proposal of the way to get attention to people. You have to be, as I said, adapted to the situation, right to the point, with the new information that people don't know. You might get the attention of people for something they know. So you have to come over with something they don't know, which I'm doing in my podcast, bringing the latest news about deep tech, particularly biotech, about food and the relation between food and tech. Because as you know, opinion is Opinion's business, and this my passion and yours also in a way. And but you're giving news that people are not supposed to know, or warnings that people are not supposed to know. Like, look at the soil. We were talking about harvesting. When you pass through the countryside, like we were in Asia, I remember, you don't know what's under the crops. You don't know what's going on. It's the whole ecosystem is running on. You don't see. Okay? You can make crazy assumptions about it. So if you are, like I said, interesting to make people interested, and you are to the point of what you have to share with people so that you make them again interested, you're spot on. You don't have to be crazy to do that and do some jumps and so on.
But look at the attention span. The article says it. It says that it's 3.7 seconds of your time is nothing. Before, people used to watch the video and see if there's an interesting topic. Let's just come back to B2B, which is the main topic here. And I strongly believe that business to business is still very rare on social media, the conversion rate. Even on LinkedIn, business to business has to be made with human connection, contact, calls. Can't be made out of social media.
Totally agree. By the way, getting to what Yassine just said, we have a product coming out soon, which is called Hyperminded. And Hyperminded is a product that gives you the latest information of your of whatever you do in your company, of whatever your employees or partners are doing in the special topics from the night before, which is 24 hours time span. And it gives you this information with a lot of perspective for you to use. And at the end, it puts you together, other people that we seem on the same topic, doing the same kind of thing that you're doing. And it's a kind of upskilling your brain every single day. Why? Because you need this new information about the sector you're in. And then you jump in, like just Yassine just said, jumping on a call with other people on the other side of the world, discussing with them about, like, could be a toy producer, and I produce my toy with a specific way. It's assume that someone worldwide found out a new technology to build this toy in another manner, so that it brings the attention of people, and it's good for the sustainability and so on and so forth. So you know about it, you get the article, you get the perspective, you have your own opinion, and you jump with other people to talk about it. So I believe what Yassine said, and I agree 100%. Yassine, when you want to, whatever you have in your brain that is enhanced, and you want to talk to people about it and exchange, like you said, we need a call, we need to exchange and so on. This is when where you grow and you feel you're a being.
I agree 100%. And for me, it's very important. For me, it's very important to have a connection with people. When I do business to business, when I do business with someone, it's super important to have this connection, to be able to grow together. Because the same thing that you say always, and that you say in the company, we growing together, sharing. What was it? Oh, I have a hole in my mind right now. It was share to grow.
Share to grow, absolutely.
It's share to grow, and to be able to share, you need to have a deep connection with people. And those 3.7 seconds attention on social media is not going to give you this real link with people.
Okay, this is a fact because it's a study. It's a study made worldwide, and it's an average. Okay, it's not the extreme.
It's an average.
You might have people that watch your video for, let's say, 7 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, maybe a quarter or half an hour or even an hour. I know that your videos in YouTube sometimes have 50 minutes. It's good, and ours is around 50 minutes. So it's guys, if you look at it for 50 minutes, thanks. Thanks for getting us to your attention. But there's a big but again. As you know, it's a fact. So as it's a fact, we have to deal with it. It's like, deal with it. And as we have to deal with it, my conclusion is we have to make the videos shorter. We have to make them more often. And we have, like you do when you and your team are doing the settings for those podcasts, and I'm impressed by what the team is doing for our podcast. And it's your team. I know that you have a tremendous team to handle the podcast. And our team at Epinion, who's handling the marketing of the podcast and so on. We need to have a great sound, a great light, great topics, a great shape. Like today we were expecting, well, I asked you, are you good? You said, yes, I'm good. Go for it. And you asked me, and you? I said, yes, I'm good. Let's go for it. And we went for it. It's almost 10 o'clock. And here we are having our podcast. So that means you have all these ingredients together so that it works against the 3.7 eyeball timing that we have.
I agree. I agree. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think actually about social media and the attention span on social media? Do you agree with this 3-second rule or not? And as always, super nice. Let's dive into the third topic.
The third topic is a topic I love, and it's the purpose of my book also. It's about two AI specialists having the Nobel Prize of Physics. So you could think, what does AI have to see with physics? Because Nobel Prize of Physics every year is a very important Nobel Prize. Physics is a matter to look at to be able to understand our universe. Physics is in a base of everything. It is the base of what we do, is the base of what we considered of, etc., etc. So what those two guys have to see with physics? And those two guys are Geoffrey Hinton, which is very potently put in my book, and John Hopfield. And the two were awarded Nobel Prize. Well, Geoffrey Hinton from, as you might know, as some of you might know, from the University of Toronto. And John Hopfield comes from Princeton University. And the key contributions to AI, Hinton's was on the Boltzmann machine, and Hopfield's was on the what we call the Hopfield networks. It sounds a little bit technical, but we'll explain about it. It's just that, like Hopfield, find out that the neurons, when they're aligned together, connect. And when they connect, they make something bigger. And he proved, I'm telling you really roughly because it's very technical, and I can explain that on a video just by itself. When they get together and they are in balance, they get together, they fire in our brain, and they made them fire in the computer. Geoffrey Hinton worked on what we call machine learning, and he found out how to use machine learning to interpret data that are in a repetitive way so that he can make average of those data. It's very rough, but that's the way it works. Or images recognition or text recognition. And when you have a pattern, you find a pattern, finding the same thing at the same time, you're recognizing it. After that, you can use it for whatever purpose you want to do in a repetitive task, or finding out things out of a text, like we say, like we do in ChatGPT, for instance, or any LLM, you can find the next phrase, or next, in the beginning it was the next letter, then it became the next word, then it begins the next text, then it began to be the next image. So it all comes from Geoffrey Hinton teams, and I think it's a very, very strong. So Geoffrey Hinton proved the same notions and interactions as thermodynamics in proving that we can prove that the recognitions of pattern are done the same way. This is why they classified both of them into physics. But the most important thing about these Nobel Prizes, but the most important thing we have to keep in mind is not the link with physics. It's the consequences that two Nobel Prizes are predicting for the future of AI. And it's not that good for the humanity if not properly handled, which is again the purpose of my book, Renaissance Now. Let's dive into the wellness of human being in link with this AI that is ever evolving. What do you think, Yassine?
I think people are using AI in a very, 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 very unproductive way. That's my own perspective and my own thoughts. I feel that, for example, a lot of people are scared of AI, but they shouldn't be scared actually of it. But they should take advantage of it to be able to become better, to be able to do better things. Because at the end of the day, if you want to shut down AI, you're going to shut down AI. Just don't use it anymore. We as humans are becoming lazier and lazier and lazier because of AI. For example, if you need to summarize the text, or if you need to have a clear idea on how to write a caption, you're just going to ask ChatGPT to be able to do that. And before, we used to use our brain to be able to do that. So we used to work for that. And using our brain means you're going to use your muscle, which is your brain, and you're going to become better and you're going to become more creative. But now by using AI, we're becoming, to say this in a nice way, but dumber and dumber or something like this. And I feel that if people are still considering AI as a threat for any kind of thing in their life, they shouldn't, and they should take advantage of this to become better in what they do.
Here we have an interesting conversation, because what you just said is making us dumber, and what I think is that it's making us more clever in a way that we go and grab some information that were not in our mind much faster, much wiser. When I say wiser, is in terms of creativity. AI can be creative, giving you some ideas you weren't thinking about, which give you avenues. Yes, AI is a predictive tool, but also here, it can get to help you if you know how to use it and not get used by it. And when do you get used by it? You get used by it when it escapes your control, when you don't know what it's doing. Geoffrey Hinton, by the way, his name is Geoffrey Everest Hinton because his father was the one who found about one of the first who mounted the Mount Everest. Okay. And Geoffrey Hinton, when he resigned from Google, he said it in one of the podcasts, he resigned because he said, I don't understand anymore what those AI are doing after I programmed them. And they doing things in an autonomous way that he couldn't control. So he said, okay, guys, here is what's going on. They're getting more clever and clever. They're doing things, but maybe someday they will do things that will escape our control. So it's the responsibility, tech company, of the government, of the civil society, to look at it in the lens of saying, okay, guys, we have something that is a new species. Out of the human species, you have a new species. And this species is evolving. It's doing tremendous things at productivity. It produces better, faster, cheaper, name it. It makes us feel intelligent. And you're right by saying we are probably going dumber, not because we're getting dumber, because it gives us more information to enhance our productivity and enhance our mind, like we say in hypermind. It gets us dumber not to know what's going to happen if we don't the necessity keys to control what those AIs are doing.
Let me correct what I said. Makes us dumber because it makes us lazy. It makes us lazier than ever to have the AI in our hands, AI free to use, AI in just one click. It makes us super lazy, and it made me lazy as well. It made me super lazy. It helped me in some way because I know how to use it. I know how to use it to have more creativity, because actually you said, yeah, AI can give you creativity tips as well, because it can give you ideas that you didn't even think about. And then those ideas are going to be in your brain, and then you're going to think about something new. And sometimes I use it to create my content and to have some ideas and to write captions and whatsoever. But sometimes it also makes me lazy. I stopped researching. It became it became a powerful research tool. I just type, discuss, gives me ideas. It's amazing, but I personally know how to use it.
Okay. But come back to those two guys. When you watch their videos, and you can go, guys, watch their videos and look at what they say, and they had, talking Nobel Prizes. I'm not talking about anybody. It's the Nobel Prizes this year, 2024. And we are in the era of AI coming over only since 2 years, and we are in the inception. I mean, we work on a daily basis in this matter, and we know where it's heading. We know it's an exponential, and we didn't see yet the quantum computing coming over, which is 1 billion years stronger in calculations than AI calculated by a supercomputer. And what a world is going to be like if it escapes our control, is something that those two persons that I just mentioned are warning the world about. You can be someone who warns the world. You're not capable changing the course of the thing unless you put together the politics, the civil society, and the tech companies again. And this is why I propose in my book, is proposing them all together. I mean, my book was written 6 months ago, you remember, and I was testing the book on the market and so on and so forth and refining it. The ideas were set. Those guys are saying also, we can do outstanding things out of it, but out of a will to do outstanding things, they can bring us some surprises that we were not expecting. This is what I'm saying. Let me ask you a question, Yassine. If you have kids, you're my son. I know how I would answer you if you ask me, but let me ask you the question, because I know you might ask. If you had kids today, how would you educate them, and how would you like them to be in regard of AI tool, which is going to be everywhere?
I'll educate them with AI. I'm going to show them AI. I'm going to show them how to use it in their advantage and not be scared of them using it to do any crazy things. No, I'm going to teach them on how to use it, how to become smarter with AI, how to integrate this in their own life. Because I know that also nowadays there's a lot of people that are avoiding AI, and this is wrong, to be able to avoid AI, because they need to face reality. The reality is that today we can't imagine a world without AI. 3 years ago, we could imagine a world without AI. because we didn't have, I mean, AI was there, AI was present, but not as much as it is today. And today we won't imagine a world without AI. So my first thing, after obviously languages and education and whatsoever, I would definitely teach them on how to use those tools in their hands to be able to become a better person.
Okay, as long as it's controllable, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, what I would suggest to you as my son, I'm talking to you concretely, is be curious and develop what I think is the most important thing, which is, by the way, also what is embedded into hyper-minded that we talked about. Use your critical thinking, which is what we do right now.
Yeah.
What we do is use
debating.
our critical thinking to debate, to try to find other means, try to understand your opponent and try to build something out of it, and not get to fight or whatever. You're stronger than me, but still I can fight. At the end, raising your awareness on critical thinking, you have to say, is the two sides of the coin to what you're doing. And say, okay, AI is here to stay, for sure, because it brings so much good. But it has two different means. You know, let's take it politically. You have two superpowers facing together. You have the US and you have China. The use of AI, for me, a form of freedom. Why? Because I come from an Occidental world, whereas in this Occidental world, freedom, one of the main values in our country, Morocco, freedom of a great value. And we all know it, and we know all happy about it. We live in Morocco. That I say that is because we feel it. Whereas AI, if it's used as a freedom tool, would not allow anymore those countries that rule the countries by directive way of handling the policy with their citizens, by surveilling them, by not letting them say or do things, etc., etc. So it can be a great tool for the development, inventions, development of research and development, and so on and so forth for a country. But also it can be dangerous for another type of country, using it also for research, but also using it for other purposes. Because on one side, you have people using it for research for the sake of good, also people using for research for the sake of bad. But the ugly comes when you use it as a freedom tool in the sense that everybody can say everything against a government that don't accept it. Then it becomes harmful for the government. See what I mean?
I see what you mean. I mean, yeah, it's again, to be able to control AI is all about controlling human. Are you willing to control yourself, and are you willing to use AI for your own good and not any other goal? That's the main thing.
Yeah, well, it's the same way as using the metaphor as using a knife. You can use a knife to cut a piece of meat that Yassine loves, to eat a fantastic steak one way or another, or you can use a knife to kill someone. So AI is a tool that can do both. And this is why we have to use it wisely and look at it in a perspective way, like the book is about the next 2 to 3 year max, because we never know. If someone asks me tomorrow, what is the world going to look like in 10 years? I swear, whereas we embedded in tech for the whole day, I won't be able to tell exactly how the work is going to look like. Although we can predict anything we can predict, we won't get into it. And this is why we have to look at what we do in life in other dimensions that we're looking at it today. And I'll repeat it all the time. We have to look at the life in terms of what us as human are here for, and use that here for to tackle our purpose.
Really want to know again what you guys think. Let us know in the comments so we can discuss it the next podcast.
And stay tuned. There's a lot of things to come over. We have guests coming over in the podcast, and you're gonna love it because it's about food. It's about stress, how to handle stress. It's about how to stay more and more human in this era of AI. And it's about the last information on wellness.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification button so you don't miss the next one. See you guys.